So this age-old question from the spiritual community, at least some people are curious about this, and the curiosity is regarding whether or not spiritual techniques actually work. The short answer to this question is yes or no. I know that sounds very paradoxical or contradictory or even stupid. So let me explain what exactly I mean by this. Do spiritual techniques work? Is actually, it's not a single question. There are like two different questions are embedded in this. Do spiritual techniques work in general is one question, or do spiritual techniques help you in your awakening or enlightenment, especially if you're a kind of advanced seeker? That's another question. So in general, spiritual techniques, like any other techniques, actually work in focusing or concentrating your mind, and there is no or little doubt about that. Because when you sit down and try to meditate or trying to observe your thoughts, the observer consciousness will strengthen in you. So that is primarily the reason why the spiritual techniques actually are there, right? So it takes off your mind from the materialistic mundane things, and try to force your mind or try to cultivate a habit of thinking that you're not just this body or not just this mind, or trying to develop this observer consciousness in you. So that's primarily one of the reasons why spiritual techniques are there in the marketplace of spiritual industry. So where do we go from there? So in general, they kind of work, but for an advanced seeker or someone who has done a lot of spiritual work in his life, does it really help them? That is the question that we need to look at. So if you're going in this path of inquiry, like what exactly is that enlightens people, or what exactly is that awakens people, is also something that's really important. The truth is that spiritual techniques will not help you awaken. Or if you're doing meditation for 8 hours or yoga for 4 or 5 hours every day, and it's not really that is going to help you awaken to the dream. What awakens people is the true desire to wake up. You see, if someone wants to wake up, and that is what they truly believe in, and that is what they think that is what they truly want, then that will trigger an awakening response in the mind. Mind will create that kind of circumstance or that kind of experience where you finally wake up to this the mind stream itself. So the desire is very, very, very important in this case, because if you look at it, Nisargada's teaching from I Am That, he mentions the word, he uses the word earnestness a lot of times, maybe more than 100 times, I guess. I don't really know, but he uses the word earnestness a lot of time, and this word earnestness or the curiousness or the zeal or the passion to know the truth is something that's crucial for a seeker who is wanting to see the ultimate truth of his existence. Because if you go to Nisargadatta Maharaj or Ramana Maharshi, they are not talking about any kind of meditation techniques, right? For example, Ramana Maharshi talks about self-inquiry. Like he says, he doesn't give you any kind of technique in the sense like meditation technique. He doesn't talk about that. He simply says, inquire who you really are. But again, this is not again a technique, or this is not again a meditation practice, or this is not any kind of thing. It's just simply you being curious about who you really are. Who am I is not exactly a technique. The words itself they do not have any kind of special importance. They are what they are. By the end of the day, they are just three little words. Who am I? And they do not inherently have any special power. If you believe that, then you're an idiot, right? If I believe that, I'm an idiot, because how can words be powerful? But they are actually what they are actually. Then, if they are not words, or if they are not technique, if there's not any special thing, it's just a way. They're the words that helps you remind you about your own curiosity. So it's only if you're really curious about awakening, or if you, let's just say you have read Who Am I, Ramana Maharshi's Who Am I, or Self-Inquiry, or maybe been to Nisargadatta's Maharaj, and then got introduced to this I am that or whatever. So if you're really curious, you will stay with this question all the time. You will stay with I am all the time. Like Nisargadatta said, just be with I am. That's what you have to do. And so why would you want to be with I am? What exactly does it mean? It just means that you have the necessary interest, the required amount of interest or passion, or the zeal to know who you really are. So that's just a reminder that if you're really interested or not. It's just checking, right? If you're not really curious or anything else, or if you don't have the true desire within you operating to know who you truly are, then obviously no amount of who am I or self-inquiry will help you. So if you're curious enough, it doesn't need it could be either who am I, it could be meditation, it could be yoga, it could be any other thing. It doesn't matter. The technique doesn't really matter. The technique doesn't really help you. The technique is just an outward expression of the inner truth. It's just you confirming to yourself that I really need this, I really want to know, and the parameter is how you practice this technique. So then again, when coming back to this self-inquiry thing, Ramana Maharshi didn't want to use it as a technique, like, oh, I will practice the self-inquiry technique from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. today and be done with it. That's not what he means. He means in the way that you have to be curious about who really are all the time. That's why the who am I technique. This who am I thing is not something you do when you're sitting on a yoga mat. This is something this is a question that you shouldn't even be leaving when you're taking a bath, when you're brushing your teeth, when you're taking a walk. That is what it means. So it's not a technique, it's not a method. It just means, it just means it's a question that asks you, are you really curious enough to know who you really are? It's staying with that curiosity, with that earnestness, with that passion. So that's what that's how a spiritual technique works. They don't help you directly, they help you indirectly, in the sense they test your curiosity. That's it. So then why are the spiritual techniques are there in the first place? A spiritual technique will not really help you in the awakening process, but they're still in the marketplace. But if you go to there are a couple of reasons why the spiritual techniques exist, especially for the beginner. They are kind of instruments. It's like bhakti, like for a beginner point of view, they may be helpful. So we are not arguing that, we are not debating that, we are not questioning that. So we're talking about someone who has made a considerable spiritual journey and now is trying to find the ultimate truth to his existence. And does it really, for that kind of person, do these spiritual techniques actually help? So if you're tackling that question, then if the answer is really no, then why are they really there? The point is simple. Like J.K. said, truth is a pathless land. There's no path. It's a dissolution, or the disappearance of all the paths. That's what is exactly the truth. So it is not. It's not. You cannot confine truth to any particular spiritual method or practice, or ideology. Right now, this is truth, and that's what it means. Truth is something that exists all the time. So, but when you go to your guru and ask him, "What? Tell me, oh gurus, I've been traveling like 2 or 3 days to come here to visit you, to meet you, and to learn about the nature of my true self from you." And then, if he says there is nothing for you to do, then the first thing is you get disappointed. Oh, why did I come here? Why did I make this journey? Why did I travel all the way to be here and to be finally denied any kind of teaching? So nothingness cannot be a teaching, right? If you go to an Apple store and if you want to buy an Apple phone and you pay them money and they'll give you an Apple phone, there's a physical product there. So if you go to some self-help guru or positive psychology meetings or motivation seminars, they will give you a book, a list of affirmations, or things that you're supposed to do. A CD of motivational talks. There is also some kind of physical product is there. But when you comes to spirituality, there is no product. There is no teaching. There's nothing. There's nothing for you to do. It's the end of all mental procedures of arriving at something that is not there. So how does a guru communicate that with you? You can't do that. If he just says there's nothing for you to give, he will go to another guru. That's exactly what happened with Yuji Krishnamurti. He went to Ramana Maharshi, and then the Ramana Maharshi had nothing to give him, but his zeal was so intense. So he asked directly, like, can you give me enlightenment? He said, I can give you, but are you able to receive it? Can you even receive it? So that means he has nothing to really offer there. Because how can you offer nothing? How can you offer space? You can offer a mango or an apple, but space is something that you cannot offer because it's already there. So something that cannot be offered if something cannot be offered, then that's the end of it. There's no further conversation possible. There's no further transaction possible. That's a problem here. So that's why spiritual industry invented a lot of techniques for marketing purposes or for real purposes. I mean, if I go to someone and then there is no technique, or if they don't give me anything that I could get connected to, and I will just go to another guru. So all these shops have created their own kind of branded yoga techniques or meditation techniques, or all kind of these things. First thing is they are just a marketing purpose. I mean, of course, even if it's not marketing purpose, I mean, there is something that you need to get connected to, at least in the beginning phases, to process, to progress, right? At least, even if you're going with the illusion of progress, you need something in the beginning to get connected to. If there is no product, or if there is no technique, if there is no branded thing, then you will not be able to identify with anything there. See, that's what they say. The God is like Satchitananda, and the eternal consciousness, the formless, the shapeless, the soundless, the silent. That's what they say, but you can't describe such kind of God to a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old. So that's why then we have the photos of Ramas or Krishna or some other Devi. So that, okay, God is both the formless and the form. And so that kind of philosophy is arisen from that, because you can't really describe the essence of God as nothing. The nothing cannot be described in any other form. So you give him a shape, a particular figure, so that you will try to get attached to or get connected to this, at least in the beginning, and then go from the form to the formless. That is the point of anything. So in a way, if I say that I don't have anything to give to you, you will not stay with me. I have to offer you something in the name of spirituality. And so that's the reason why, that's the primary reason why the spiritual techniques exist, the meditation, yoga, whatever. Of course, they have their own benefits. They're useful for your mind, focusing, concentrating your mind. Maybe the yoga has a lot of health benefits too, and yoga in particular way, it helps you understand the correlation between the physiology and the mind. The way your body's physiology is working, it has a huge impact on your mind. So that's why after a bit of yoga, you feel better. So yoga is trying to highlight this connection between the mind and the body. So in that way, these are really useful. But once you're done, once you achieve a certain level of spiritual progress, you're not looking for the benefits of yoga. You're looking for the answer, right? You're not looking for focusing. You're not looking for concentrating your mind, because you already reach a certain stage where your thoughts are actually almost under your control. Most spiritually advanced beings, they know how to control their mind, in the sense that they don't create conscious suffering for themselves. Their mind automatically is in a position to be positive all the time. You don't have to force your mind to think positively. They know how to. Their mind has already grasped the laws of the mind, and the mind is not creating much stress for it. But there is a problem, the confusion of what exactly the self is. So that confusion is there, and as long as that confusion is there, the mind will create some sublime stress for you or confusion for you, and that is something that you can't deal with, that you want to know the answer for it. You want to go beyond this mind and know what exactly is happening there, what exactly is the nature of the reality and all. At that point, any technique that you used to, any technique that has been there in place to help you control a bit of your mind will not really help you, because that technique is for a different purpose. And in that sense, these spiritual techniques actually help you in an indirect way, or in the way that it is intended. They exactly now function in a reverse direction. They make you question the meditation technique itself. They create that frustration in you. I mean, it's so boring. I mean, if you think about it, meditation, for example, observing your breath is the most boring thing in the world. And why are you doing it? Because it's been recommended to you by some guru, or some teaching, or in the book, or someone has said to you, or someone has said that because of meditation I have achieved my final truth, or something like that. And then you want to follow this person and follow this technique, and you're observing your breath closed, and you doors with all the doors closed, sitting in a room, just in the center of the room perhaps, and sitting in a dark room with your eyes closed, and you're observing, you breathe and breathe and breathe, and you're doing this for days, months, and finally at some point it should create some frustration in you. Why am I doing all this nonsense? What is the end goal of all this? What do they even want? What is that even trying to achieve? How does this breathing technique help me? Why am I doing all this bullshit? So in that way, a meditation technique can actually help you. And then because it creates such a kind of agony, frustration, or force in your mind that will destroy even the very search for something that is not there. It will destroy the technique itself. Like, you see, it's so pointless. That's the reason why I think if you see the Hindu icons, the gods, let's say for example Krishna, Rama, or anyone for that matter, you don't see them meditating. Why? Because they don't need it. Because they're already living the meditation. They have realized that everything is true. They are the truth themselves. So meditation is just a technique for them. So they don't. Why would someone who is already living the truth want to do something as pointless as meditation? For them, it means nothing. So that's why Krishna suggested this karma yoga, and because he was coming from the point everything is meditation. So even if you're going to war and you're doing it 100% with your heart, and just like the way nature intended you to do that war, because you don't have an option or something like that, and then you're in the war because that is what your dharma is supposedly, and then you're doing it. That is also meditation for him. That's what we call as karma yoga. Because everything, all parts are the same. It's every movement is meditation for those who understand that is the truth. So meditation as separate thing doesn't exist for the realized person. So that's why you don't see them meditating. They have gone beyond that. You don't see Osho or Sadhguru Jagdi Vasudev or Yuji or Nisargadatta or any of these teachers. They don't practice anything. What is it to practice? They have gone beyond the practice. And what it's a breathing, they're just eating. It's all just the truth. There's nothing else that is apart from the truth, right? So once you have understood that, once you've been there, so you will not recommend any path. You will try to end all paths. So in that sense, meditation actually helps you, or this intense sadhana focus, whatever this thing is, actually will switch on this light in you. Like, why am I doing all this, and what is the purpose of this? Can I just not be who I am? I don't need to know anything else. I don't have to practice. Just be free. Even free from meditation itself, free from any technique, free from teaching, free from gurus, free from scriptures. So to create that kind of frustration, you need some pointless activity. And meditation might actually help. Meditation or yoga or whatever, the chanting or whatever the techniques that these, that can actually induce that kind of frustration, the ultimate frustration in you, and break all the chains or the imaginary chains that are holding you to yourself. So the imaginary bondage can actually be maybe realized when you finally eventually reach that point of breaking, where you don't want to fool yourself anymore, where you don't want to practice anything anymore, where you just want to be free from everything, from God, from truth, from meditation technique or whatever it is, all these techniques. You just wanted to get away from all this, and then you'll have your first breath of freedom. So in that sense, meditation techniques are useful or actually helpful, but not in the way they are promised. It's not because of meditation technique that you will get enlightenment. It is because that you see that is how pointless it is, that you have ultimately then you will be ultimately realizing your own what do you say, your own bullshit, like why of it. So the reason why spiritual techniques exist, as I've said, is the first reason is because it has to, you can't offer nothing to a seeker. You have to offer something. If you do not offer anything, you'll go to another guru. So you have a trademark technique or trademark teaching or trademark kind of satsang, where you try to give something to them so that they feel like they have received something from you, and that creates certain kind of bonding between the guru and the disciple. And that's one of the reasons spiritual techniques actually exist. It also gives you a fodder for your mind to distract your attention from the materialistic or worldly things to yourself. In that sense also, they're actually helpful in developing that consciousness, of course. So that is a real use, I would think. I would argue. Apart from that, I think you're setting yourself up for the end of everything, and so which means the end of all scriptures, techniques, beliefs, ideologies, whatever that you heard from people like me, whatever that is what the ultimate thing that is going to happen to a true earnest seeker.